The Bitfinex Exchange Hack. In 2016, one of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges was hacked, and over $72 million worth of Bitcoin was stolen. This was a devastating blow to the exchange, its users, and the entire cryptocurrency industry. Do you know how it happened, who was behind it, and what the consequences were? In this video, we will take an in-depth look at what happened during the Bitfinex Exchange hack and its causes. Before we discuss this in detail, please subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. The arrest of New York City residents Ilya Dutch Lichtenstein and Heather R. Morgan for their alleged roles in the laundering of Bitcoin, which is now worth an unbelievable $4.6 billion, came as a shock to the world. According to reports, this amount of Bitcoin was stolen from the global exchange Bitfinex in August of 2016, and little has been done since then to identify the perpetrators of the theft or to recover the funds. This radio silence, coupled with other intriguing aspects, has generated a great deal of anticipation for yesterday's announcement. Nevertheless, despite the abundance of data that has surfaced, there are still numerous questions that, if answered, might prompt a far more in-depth probe. The breach itself, the effects of the attack on the company, and the mysterious actions of the putative BTC launderers during the time they were allegedly trying to hide their tracks remain among the biggest mysteries. How did the initial hack happen? If you don't pay close attention, you can miss the most important part of the accusations brought against Ilya Dutch Lichtenstein and Heather R. Morgan yesterday for their claimed roles in laundering $4.6 billion worth of Bitcoin stolen from Bitfinex in 2016. The charges do not state that the couple was responsible for the initial Bitfinex hack or how they gained access to the private keys for the currency. Some evidence suggests the pair was involved in the hack, but the DOJ may not have had enough to prosecute them with anything more than money laundering. The most intriguing clue is that Morgan appears to have been deeply interested in social engineering, a subset of hacking that targets and manipulates humans rather than computer systems. She gave a lengthy talk at NYC Salon event in which she detailed the various forms of manipulation and deceit she had employed to get entry to various establishments. BitGo, a security company, had its multi-signature safeguards broken into in the initial intrusion. Since Bitfinex users employ a multi-signature security layer, it is likely that BitGo would have had to approve these transactions, as reported by CoinDesk at the time. As this is the case, social engineering could have been involved in the hack. This is all inconclusive evidence, but it does raise some interesting questions that may prompt additional research. It's worth mentioning that in 2020, former BitGo Chief Compliance Officer Matt Perella was interviewed by Forbes contributor Heather R. Morgan for a post titled "Experts Provide Suggestions on How to Safeguard Your Business from Cybercriminals." This might raise eyebrows, but remember that Perella worked for BitGo for little of 2 years between 2019 and 2020 at most. His perspective may not be all that relevant. Yet the fact that Morgan knew someone who was familiar with BitGo's operations is an intriguing factoid that may prove useful to the detectives. Why would crypto-literate criminals store private keys in the cloud? The accusation that police were able to seize the stolen BTC after accessing the accused cloud-stored private keys is one of the most perplexing aspects of the latest charges against Ilya Dutch Lichtenstein and Heather R. Morgan. One of the most fundamental concepts of crypto management is keeping private keys offline. Therefore, this raises major issues about the security policies of those purportedly responsible for laundering the enormous quantity of stolen money. Yet, there are a few viable justifications for keeping the keys in a cloud service. A possible explanation is that the keys themselves were encrypted, which might be seen as an extra layer of protection. It is also plausible that the accused just handed over the keys when approached by law enforcement, rather than the keys being decrypted by the authorities, as is claimed in the indictment. It's also important to think about how much the stolen BTC has increased in value over the past 5 years. It had a value of about $70 million at the time of the attack, but has since ballooned to several billion. This may have made it harder for the accused to implement the latest best practices in security. Ultimately, There are numerous unresolved concerns concerning the alleged laundering plan due to the lack of clarity surrounding the circumstances of the recovery of the stolen BTC and the safekeeping of the private keys. Why were these secret billionaires so extremely online? Let's delve into Morgan's rap alter ego, Razalikin, and his weird, cringeworthy universe. Morgan had control over a massive Bitcoin fortune, but he opted to use it to promote his bizarre rap-heavy video on TikTok and YouTube instead. Lichtenstein tweeted and published a Medium post on cryptocurrency, while Morgan authored tech and business articles for Forbes' dubious contributor network. Since most of their online activity was made private following their arrests, it's fair to wonder why they bothered with such a large amount of it given their wealth. It seems likely that Morgan and Lichtenstein were motivated by egotistical needs for glory and acclaim, but this is just conjecture on our part. Since they aspire to be taken seriously as innovative business people, they portrayed themselves as partners at DemandPath, a venture capital firm investing in distributed systems, cloud platforms, and data-driven AI. As an added bonus, Morgan presented himself as the head of the email marketing firm Salesfolk. Morgan continued posting even as she felt the pressure from the other users increase. In reality, she had written a business-to-business sales article for Incorporated magazine and tweeted about it on social media a week before her arrest. Maybe they realized that surveillance made moving their BTC extremely risky, so they decided to double down on a business that had a chance of making money. The extent to which Morgan's online presence is influencing opinions about the case deserves consideration. At a pretrial hearing in New York, a judge set bond for Lichtenstein at $5 million and Morgan at only $3 million, suggesting the court believes Lichtenstein bears more culpability and faces stiffer penalties than Morgan does because of her wrapping and interest in social engineering. How does this connect back to Bitfinex? Bitfinex, a prominent cryptocurrency exchange, was the victim of a serious breach in early August 2016. This event raised questions about the legitimacy of Bitfinex and its affiliates. After the incident, Bitfinex took responsibility for the losses by imposing a haircut of around 36% on customer balances and compensating them with recovery rights tokens, BTC. Bitfinex claims it recovered the missing funds by increasing trading volume, and that all tokens were redeemed and paid in full by April 4, 2017. Users who were given BTC tokens lost out when the value of Bitcoin doubled in that time, but the tokens were denominated and repaid in US dollars. Bitfinex's liabilities were reduced by the redemption of BTC tokens, and the exchange was able to buy back the tokens at a discount because to the fact that some users dumped them on the market for as little as 49 cents on the dollar. There was talk that the attack might have been carried out by someone on the inside because it necessitated breaking multi-signature protection. Bitfinex's critics, including the watchdog Bitfinex, have suggested that the exchange utilized the breach and the BTC token to cover up other problems at the exchange and divert attention from the later deficiencies at Bitfinex's sister business Tether. There is no hard proof of this, but the ongoing trial of Morgan and Lichtenstein may provide additional insight into these questionable practices. That's all for today. Can cryptocurrency exchanges ever truly be 100% secure? With the rise of new and increasingly sophisticated cyber threats, it's a challenging task to stay ahead of potential attackers. So what can be done to mitigate the risks of future attacks on cryptocurrency exchanges? I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss any amazing video from us.